As you can see, I have my work light already pointed at the batteries because I want to keep working on the battery shelf today. Potentially final. No, I'm not saying that. Well guys, first of all, welcome back to another video here from the Off-Grid Garage. Look at the weather. I need to move everything a lot further out now. Pool fence is doing great. So it's very hard for me to get in and out with the Tesla into my carport now because all of the solar panels lining up here. I definitely need a better solution for that. Little trolley, a little cart where these panels have been mounted on, and then I can wheel it in and out every day. Yeah, so anyway, I wanna disconnect this battery, the top battery here today, because I wanna realign these battery cells here. I'm coming into the garage every day and I'm looking at these unequal gaps here. And I always think, well, I need to fix this. This is not looking good. Also, I want to show you something else. Remember the big gap we left here in between the battery cells, which is about 220 mil or something, which looked like an initial good idea because there's enough cooling now in between the battery cells. The problem is I had to move this row of batteries all the way back. There's almost no gap in between the back panel and the batteries, and also the battery sits on the frame. Sits here on the black metal frame of the shelf and not on the aluminium anymore. Here it is the same height, but in the bottom shelf it's not. Due to Chinese manufacturer tolerances of the shelf, this aluminium sheet sits 2 millimeters lower than the actual frame. So all the batteries up there, they are sitting a bit on an angle. Yeah. And guess what? I don't like this at all. Yeah, even the kookaburras are laughing. So what we will do is we will disconnect one of the batteries and then get all these cells realigned. They are on the same distance to each other. We've got the same gap in between. And I have to get rid of this big gap in between the rows. I have to move this second row a lot further towards the first one here. And I also have to make a new link here. That was the main idea, to leave the original bus bars as they are and just connect them to the battery, right? But now this row is coming further this way, so I have to shorten them a little bit. Probably have to cut them down a bit and drill a new hole for the terminals. I've already mounted the zip tie mounts onto the shelf, so we can actually fix the positive cable and make this look a little bit better than it is right now. I was looking for tile spacers to put them in between the battery cells, so they are exactly the same distance then to each other. Can't find any. I don't think I have any tile spacers anymore. You know these little plastic crosses you put between tiles when you tile? We're using these ring terminals here and put them in between because they have exactly the 2.5 millimeters I want to be the space in between the battery cells. See, they don't fit here. Yeah, but they fit over here because the cell is not consistent. That's just not good. It needs to be all aligned correctly. So I thought about, the only concern I have is oh, look at this. We've got 24 amps outside. How good is that? I'm actually recharging the battery now for our last test with the battery banks without balancer. So I've turned off all the load again and I try to recharge everything until the next weekend. This is 2 weeks ago since we took off the balancers. I'm so keen to see this result. Anyway, we're on 71% state of charge, right? If I turn off one of the battery banks, the state of charge obviously will not change, but we have only 2/3 of the capacity left. So charging will obviously go a lot faster because the current is not splitting into 3 banks but only into 2 banks. So the remaining banks will charge faster. This does not mean that the actual state of charge is increasing or decreasing because the current still stays the same. Smart Shunt doesn't know how many banks I have connected to the battery. So the state of charge should actually not change, right? Because it's the same current going through the Smart Shunt, but only into 2 battery banks. So these will have a higher state of charge than this one, because it will probably take me 1.5 hours to get this all done and aligned correctly. As soon as I reintroduce this one again, there will be probably a bit of current going from these batteries into this one. I'm not expecting much, to be honest, because at 70%, you know, flat area of the curve, there's no difference if you are on 40% state of charge or on 70%. This is tiny. So probably we get like 20, between 20 and 40 amps, I would guess. Max, if at all. So until we hit higher voltages, these 3 battery banks will then have a different state of charge. Same voltage, there's no equalization current going into this battery bank. Once we then fully charge the battery, or the voltage is rising, we will see these 2 battery banks will not take much current anymore, and all the power goes into this one battery. So how does this affect the state of charge overall, which the smart shunt sees? Isn't it? I can't really get my head around it. I thought about it for a while, what happens actually then to the state of charge. Is it actually still accurate then, or not at all anymore? Is it too low or too high? We will just do it because the smart shunt counts amperes in and amperes out, which don't change. So the state of charge doesn't change. And these 2 batteries are on a higher state of charge. This is on a lower one. And it should not make a difference, right? If I charge only 1 battery bank or 3. As long as I don't change I don't know. This is just something I need to sit down and make a little drawing maybe and think about it, how this affects my state of charge. Anyway, guys, I'm talking far too long. Let's get started. So 28.3 amps, and I'm turning off the circuit breaker of our top battery here. And let's see if this affects the current. Oh, here comes a cloud, of course. Are you kidding me? Anyway, we're turning off now. See, there's no change in current. If I turn it back on again, there's nothing. So the smart shunt actually counts still the same ampere hours in and out. And off again. Yeah, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. But still, how does it affect when I don't know, I can't think about it. Okay, we turn off the BMS. See, I can understand the state of charge of the BMS will be totally messed up now, because, well, it gets turned off, so it starts at something. Then afterwards, it measures the voltage and assumes a certain state of charge, maybe. Don't know. But I'm not concerned about what the BMSs show on state of charge. They will just recalibrate once we fully charge. Okay, BMS is off, circuit breaker is off. So we can just, well, undo all these screws, and then we can move the batteries around. I'll take off the link first between the 2 rows. That actually minimizes the risk of a short. Yeah, I know, right? That was the easy part. And now all the cells are loose, so I can move them freely around and rearrange them as I want them. This is just a me thing again, you know? It needs to be straight. Yeah, if you are a compressed person, you probably don't have this issue. And this is our main negative of the battery. So this is our cell number 1 here. And this is my main reference point, because this is the shortest link and I cannot really move the battery around much.
6.5 hours later.
So I have now completely aligned the front row. You can see I've used the ring lugs here as spacers. Really? I'm making a video here. So I probably tighten all these bus bars of the front row now to make this whole block here firm. And then I continue with the back row the same way. I'm not too fussed about the back row because I cannot really see it. And this is the main purpose of this whole thing. It needs to look all right. So, and now we have to move this whole row a little bit further to the front. Important is it's not staying on the frame anymore, so it's sitting flush on the aluminium floor here, on the shelf. Yeah, that's better now. Yeah. I'll do a spacer in between the row as well, so they all have the same distance to each other in either direction. This is the Overkill Solar BMS, which makes a very high-pitched noise all the time. And it is not even connected. So I wonder what's going on here. And look at this, guys. Look at this. Huh? They're all in the same. Oh, nice. So nice. I can actually see through the gap now to the back wall. I can see the reflection of the aluminium there in the back. Yes, that is much better. They're all nicely lined up. So make sure if you build your own battery in such a shelf situation, use these tile spacers, these plastic crosses, and put them in between so they are all in the same. That is so much better for my OCD. So the only thing we need to figure out now is how to do this link here. From this battery down there, and then I cut this whole thingy and drill a new hole, and we do the same on the other side. So let's see if it fits at all. Ah, perfect. It does. So, okay, before we switch it on again, we check the voltage. 53.3 we have. And we also measure at the bus bar before we connect them. And we have 53.4. So 100 millivolt difference only. That was like 3 hours. Well, we had lunch in between and I did some garden work as well. Totally forgot the battery is not connected. So this is all now connected again. I checked all the bus bars with 4 Newton meters. Balance cables are connected. Everything is nice. So we turn on the BMS. And now we can turn on the... Oh, hang on. Okay, it always says now Sun Fun Kids, regardless which battery I connect to. Believe me, this is the Overkill BMS now. And I'm going to turn this one on. You can see how much current actually goes in or out of the battery. Okay, 3, 2, 1, on. We are back live. 2 amps. Did I say 20 to 40? I'm expecting 1.9 amps. Look at this. This is all the inrush current you get when you reconnect the battery bank to your system. This is all. The voltage has not changed. Even the other ones have charged all the time. And this one hasn't. Again, flat area of the curve. There you can see it again. A lot of people have asked under my videos if you have to fuse your negative and your positive at the same time of the battery. Usually you only fuse the positive, but I like to isolate my battery completely, positive and negative. And that's why I have a 2-pole breaker in here. So negative and positive gets completely disconnected from the main bus bar system, and I can work safely on this battery without having to fear anything. It is completely disconnected, isolated from the system. Okay, let's see if this cover from the middle battery actually would fit this one here as well. Because then I can just make another one of these. Yeah, it would fit perfectly. That is great. Okay, I'll make another one of these. Takes only 10 seconds, huh? There we go. Bend it. That is the most satisfying part. Yes, trip it, baby! The bottom shelf battery. I have to do all this again.
Much later.
One, two, three. All done. Yeah, guys. So now we have to make the decision if we want to cover these shelves with the aluminium plate, which would be, as per the regulations, non-combustible material, and you have to use screws. So it actually says you have to use a tool to remove the cover. It cannot be just a hinge and a latch or something. It needs to be some sort of screws or a lock or something like this. Yeah, or are we using this PVC sheet? And then we've got a clear cover for each of the shelves, so we can look inside and see what's going on. I'm just not sure if the clear plastic would be as per the regulations. It says something here, clarity, high fire rating, self-extinguishing. I really tend to go with the aluminium sheet as per my original design. The aluminium sheet is definitely the right way to go. Solid aluminium or transparent acrylic. There can be only one solution. We had to go with the best solution, right? It will look always dirty, I think. Yeah guys, what do you think? So I have decided to go with a transparent PVC sheet here instead of the aluminium. I think it's a much better look. We can look inside, we can see what's going on. If there is smoke developing somewhere, we can see it right away. Any form of issues, any kind of issues can be inspected from the outside. And I think it is still conform with all the regulations, because you have to use tools to get into this compartment, to get access to the battery. It is flame retardant, self-extinguishing. It is not soft. You can really punch against it here. It is not a soft material at all. I like it. Yeah guys, so that's how it looks like now. Actually not much different than before, right? Just the reflections of the light, but apart from that you cannot see much of a difference. I like it. Guys, good morning. It is raining outside again. And what better can we do than finalize our battery shelf? We just need to put the bottom strip in here and seal this all up with silicone inside, underneath there, and on the outside as well, so no insects and critters get in, and start a good life in my battery shelf. That's actually another advantage of having this clear plastic in front of it. So we can see inside and see if there are any spider webs building up or any frogs or something trapped inside the cabinet. We will find them easily then. And we've got negative 3.4 amps outside. I'm trying to recharge the battery to 100% so we can do our final battery bank test without the balancer, but I'm not getting there. It may take another week. There's more rain forecasted for the next 2 days. How much do we get? 180 watts from solar. It's a 5.2 kilowatt system. We're getting 160 watts only. So that was the original aluminium plate I had planned for this section here. And this would actually cover the battery compartment and also the gap down here all in one piece. But that's a bit bad from a design perspective, because if you want to work on this battery compartment down here, it always takes this bottom cover away as well. And I actually don't want this. So what I'm going to do is now I take this aluminium sheet now and cut just the bottom part of it. And then we mount this aluminium bottom part here in this section and have it separate from the actual compartment cover. In case I want to change over this clear plastic to the aluminium covers, I can still do this. I have the 3 aluminium sheets here, so I can replace them fairly easily. I don't know for what reason. There might be a time when I'm getting sick of looking at these beautiful batteries. This is from the good old days of Doom, a video game we played in the 80s. The silicone around the plinth was basically the last task we had to do. Everything is now sealed. Can't believe we are finally done. I think we started almost a year ago with the design and planning of this battery shelf. And now finally it is fully done. I could have done it earlier, but there's so much other things to do as well. We had to do all the battery tests and the solar on the roof, as well as building the power wall. But slowly everything comes together now. Yeah, really happy with the result. I think putting on this transparent plastic here was a good choice. It looks amazing. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support here on the channel. Thanks for all your help building this battery shelf, the Battery 2.0. It's a true community battery. You gave me so much input and so much assistance and help with my questions. And the result speaks for itself, right? Until the next video, guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks for watching again. See you then. Bye-bye. Is probably still one thing missing. Yeah, what do you think?